Okay, good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is. Me back with the live stream. Wow, I'm glad to see that everybody is here again. Glad to see some people made it back in Cuba very, very well. I know they're listening down in Cuba because when in London, I was seeing two people in there actually on my live stream, but they were but the information was there. But well, what it did is I did find it. Well, funny because it showed the information, but it didn't come out of Hamilton. It was coming out of Cuba. It's memorable from my live stream, but also from the resort somewhere in Cuba, near the Havana area. I also noticed it being monitored, my live stream being monitored by the Cuban government too. That go to figure. Oh yeah, because it's communist, and you know what Cuba like? They don't like North American broadcasting. Period. Well, I'm surprised you got it down anyway. So thank you very much there for you for you know who I'm talking. Two people, two lovely ladies, one lovely girl, one lovely beautiful singer, and a brother. Both go to my place of worship, and both one is Reverend daughter and one is a Reverend teenage son. Both learning about God very quickly in their life. Well, anyway, best husband they could have, best father they have in the world. Anyways, oh yeah, with their dad, mom, Mister, Mrs. Reverend Mr. and Mrs. Sack, her name. Well, anyways, well, I hopefully now got on YouTube. I'm glad you're able to get it. I was wondering, I surprised me. I knew in Cuba when I see it coming up on my indicator that it's old Caitlin, that's old the other one on there watching basically. So that was pretty good able to do that. But I'm very surprised with the outdated technology down in Cuba. In Cuba, a lot of outdated technology, like very old internet that is not really suitable for anybody to use. It won't outdated analog internet. They got even down there. If you have a 5G phone or any phone in Cuba, it will probably work off the Wi-Fi in resort. But as soon as you try to go out of the resort, it won't work. The phone, the signal will come, but you can't transmit or transmit a 5G signal. But the towers are analog, but won't receive a 5G signal. And I've been doing. I found that out because one of the radio stations, down in Cuba, they speak in Spanish, but I listened to a bit online. They still, I did research on the transmitter, see what equipment. Their transmitter had very vintage. It was 1955 transmitter with a Harris vacuum tube, Harris transmission. Oh, they went on AM band at 740 and they're an AM band, and it will run on, but the transmitter is a very outdated, obsolete vacuum tube transmitter. The cell towers, I looked that up. A lot of them are just like analog. You know, you can send a text, but you can't send pictures. But you can see text and that too. And the system that they use on the internet down there is you can view video, but you can't respond to them, in a way that you can in North America. Anyway, so that told me a lot about Cuba, and that told me enough to know. But also too, I knew it would be monitored. I've been careful I sit on these live streams when in London, because I just don't want to get myself in political trouble in a way. Anyway, so enough there, but I'm just glad they're back, and I'm happy they did. Got back safe. Anyways, yeah, couple of things come up. I've been when I finished my holiday, came back. I'm glad I'm back from my holiday, but there's something else that really bothers me quite a bit. You know what that is? What it bothers me so much that I have to say it. there is something bothering me. I can't say it, but it is. Wow, what it bothered me so much is that I have an overpain, ODSP, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about it over the last couple of days. Option one is I get throw junk, I get junk down at the store at the down go to down to St. Vincent de Paul, get a whole lot of junk, throw it on the internet and sell it. You know, I put it on the interweb and put it on for sale and sell it. I put it up and sell something that to the highest bidder, and then afterward and ship it to them and make them pay for shipping, basically. Yep, and send it off to them. Well, I guess that one way of doing it. Two would make the prices steep. You have to put the price start at like auction price something like that, and auction it online through eBay something like that, and start doing more of that. Find more junk stuff around. Go to Dollar Tree, buy a whole bunch more stuff, auction online, or the oldest trick, milking the youth market, milking the older middle aged market basically. And what that is, you simple. How you do it is to do a great scam or do a big, huge, no festival, Woodstock. But this time, what I'm thinking about doing a Woodstock festival, line up the worship band first, with followed by another band, Russ, then Kiss, and then another band following that, and run that festival here in Hamilton. And pack the TD Center to Gil, for it can't sit another person. Then packing the whole football stadium I win to Gil, and on top of that, put some smaller band down Gafford, filling that up, and all the money collected, it's like $105. People hear 4 or 5 days of music. After 5 days of music, guess what? Millions of dollars, trillions will be collected in the mission. Trillions will be collected that way for it, and with all kind of vending and that. And by that time, we'll have created trillions and millions and trillions of dollars. And first thing then I come in, make the pay the overpayment with the money. After that, I turn around, donate all that money. I make a big donation to free charities in Hamilton. Top of my list, PCH, big donation to them. Other one on my list will be the Mission Services, with a nice juicy donation to Willowsley. While the next big huge donation will go to Wesley Center and Salvation Army. And after that, the rest of the money will go into plans to build a 75-story mega homeless shelter where each person will come in and they go through the normal routine of any second at any homeless shelter. Female, the same routine. They'll be sitting in a room. They can wait an area prior. They get seen by a doctor. They get seen everything else. Like saying the beef processing, just same as would use in a county jail in the U.S. and something like that. It'd be similar to that type of process, but it'd be like a waiting room in a big bus. From there will be assigned on for first from floor, 2, 3, and 4, 5. No, 4, 3, and 4. First 4 floors in there will be area would be sort of brought into rooms, given a room, but also there'd be given private room that gives the dignity of being by themselves. And also, they would have they'd be allowed out anytime soon, allowed out in the rains, be allowed out in the common areas for a period of time, be allowed to leave as they want to come back again. That they go they'll be given full privacy and given a whole lot of what they need, and they'll be assessed. This assessment area where they get assessed and triage area. And once they find out their abilities, if they can function properly, if they can function in there, they get moved up a level to another level that will be on there. It will be called the second level is sort of unsupervised living, not unsupervised, but minimum supervised, where they will have a right, they're able to leave when they anytime want and come back. They will be there. They'll be treated like a royalty. They'll be treated to a point where they won't want to leave it in that point. They're treating with good food and all that, not any garbage food we're going to get from Salvation Army or other places in the area. And to get up there, to get treated with more higher point of view. As they move up through the graduate structure, second and its third stage will be this: is that they go into unsupervised unit, furnished apartment, where they would be supplied the food to cook by our kitchen staff, and there's cooking skills will be tested, and the medication administration will be checked on a daily basis there, but not all that. Basically, a step up, then and they move up into the high floors, and go and they move from that. The first 3 floors will be 3, The second 3 will be sort of step up minimum to the another 3 floors will be managing their day-to-day life and other 3 floors. But finally, up on the when they reach that and the floor out there from that floor all the way to 75th will be areas that will have minimum supervision, like people will allow to move. There'll be apartment all the way up there. Each tenant will have the apartment that they have to pay rent on at a very convenient rent, like they pay on some subsidized rent on it. Of course, from that, the apartment will be filled, but in that it will have on that there will be a clause in the rent saying that if they mess up and or don't pay the rent, they go back down to the triage department, go back, we start over again, work the way back up again. But if they success at this and they're able to do it and pay the rent on time, and also, things like if they decide to do street drugs, they're immediately they're arrested and will be dealt with in the full extent of the law. But also, there'll be no kind of restriction where you put in that. It encourages people not to get on drugs. Also, they have this amount of money they have to spend every month, OSP or the welfare. Then from there, they move out fully into totally unsupervised apartment. If they fail at the highest level in this idea I have, then they'll go back down either to where right down to step 1, go back through again. If they're really messed up, well, they got caught selling an excessive amount of crack cocaine or other street drugs, or gotten into things like stuff they shouldn't have, then or not paying the rent. They will have to go a hearing. They'll be assessed again and run back through the system, but they'll be charged with the full extent of the law for possession of that street drugs, or even so, and they'll be arrested. They'll be taken to court and put in jail. So basically, what it does, the whole idea to weed out those who have the drug issue, which I've seen a lot of in Hamilton, like drugs, unbelievable. But also something that have concerned me a lot, and I've seen this going on too, that there's been an increase in the area of people being busted for making moonshine. You know what that is? Moonshine, Tennessee moonshine, I call it. Well, I just get a 100-pound bag of yeast and copper line, set off a steel in the forest and brew room, make illegal whiskey. Some people have been doing this, and a couple homeless people have done it in Hamilton, and they have gotten caught, and they have gotten arrested for it. Think about it. Busted. You know what that means? Taken to jail. South Moonshine still gone. And on top of this, there have been an increase of that happening. That because people will make their own whiskey because they can't get Jack Daniels, so they're making their own, and they when they get caught, they go down. In other states, if you got caught making illegal whiskey, it is 52 the rest of your life behind in federal penitentiary in the state if you got caught. The rest of the hillbilly country out there, it's life in the pen. You don't get out. Or death penalty. Well, anyway, honestly, if you look at a state, you look at the statistic, and I have, what I heard is in a state that, that have a death penalty, people are more apt to commit a murder, more apt to do a bad crime, not one that will know not do the crime in the fear of getting a death penalty, so they would not do the crime, so don't have to worry about. Where death penalty is not there, in a sense, like Ontario, people more turn to do a crime, do a murder, shoot, and kill. People turn to do that, and as a result, all they do is go to jail. Lo and behold, what happens? Lo and behold, they go to jail. They sit about 10 years in the pen. They get out, and what they do it again. Go back in the pen. Another 5 years, get out. Back and forth, back and forth. See? Now, needed, I will say, putting a death penalty in Canada did abolish it, but I think, but in Sweden, Ohio, they have a machine that will remove your head. White noise that gives you numbs your head first. It will inject drugs that will freeze up, numb your head, makes it numb. You can't feel it. It'll be tingly, heady way on the shoulder. And what happened? All these knives will come in round the head and they spin on it. They really take the head right off. They will spin around like this. High rate of speed. The head comes off. And then it really comes off. Then it goes into a big machine. It's a gigantic crusher, bone crusher. It literally crushes and destroys your head completely into oblivion. And then once the execution complete, they come in with a casket. And what they do, they come in with the plastic head. They make a plastic head look like your own. They put that on you with some glass eyes in it. And then what they do next is they cart you out in the casket to a hearse. Hearse takes you to the, and you have family, you have your funeral and all that, and then you're buried in the ground with the plastic head. Not your real head, see? Basically, it is pretty, that's a very, but know what? People, one thing, you don't feel pain. You just, all happens is you end up, you end up being beheaded, but also you end up dead. Think about that one. Anyways, not say about that. Their method. The other method is there's a method in there that they've been used in mainland China. Know what that method is? I can tell you what that method is. It is called that method is called it's a vacuum chamber. They bring you in and they sit you down on a chair, and of course they strap you in. And then they give you last right by free and all that. They go through a procedure. They wait for 10 minutes. If you got cough, any last minute free. None. They start the vacuum process. They start removing the air from the chamber. Within what happens, it moved out very quickly. Your lungs will, your body, your blood will boil from the vacuum. It will burst out all over. It really explode. You literally blow up in the vacuum chamber, where everything exploded everywhere. And guess what? On top of that, then have the funeral after that. That was one thing they've been doing in mainland China for execution. Um, it is no execution, yes. They've been performing it. In other countries, I know and I think in Guantanamo Bay, they will actually I don't know what to do for everybody, what kind of penalty they got, but I heard it so bad that people don't leave the jail. You go in, but you don't come out. If you end up in our penitentiary here in Canada, bad things happen to people end up in pen. What happens to people end up in the pen? Do you really want to know? They'll be brought into the pen. The first thing they do, admitting Department of Penitentiary, they will be sitting in pants, They'll be sitting in their pants, right? And one day they'll be sicking like this. They'll be sicking like that. And you know what happened next? The guard will come through that in there and it will take you, stand up, take you forward. Here. God will stand up, put these clothes on. Okay, you stand up, put these on. And then you run and get new. Put on a plastic sandal now. You put them on. Stand up and march. And we'll bring you to the door and slam. Door slam shut there. And they're sitting in the area and they're waiting. And they got a couple of days, a week later, guard come out. Okay, stand up, move along. Take you to a large cell block, slam the door again. Here's your new home for life. Sam! And you're in that cell. And then they come and the doors open up in the morning. And you got other inmate wandering down to get food. While they see you, another inmate say, "Oh, we got a newcomer here. Oh boy, we got somebody else. Okay, let's have him for breakfast." Boom, boom, boom. The person is beaten up real bad, and then he's lying on the ground, bleeding away, while other inmates sit and eat a healthy breakfast. Then they pour the orange juice on him, piss on him, and then what? Then the guard come in, rush him to the infirmary, and the infirmary, then they rush to the hospital, he get treated, brought back there next day, and guess what? And come back to the pen, and this time the inmate turned around, they said, "Welcome, we're good around." They don't do it next morning, get down to breakfast, and at the breakfast, they turn a fork, they make a sink out of a cafeteria tray, sink it in the side, you rush back to the infirmary, and then you bleed out, and then they found you dead, and then you end up, being buried in a cemetery, of course. So there you go. Penitentiary is a very bad place. Because I know a friend of mine that did time in pen. He's out now, done a time, but he said it was hell on earth to be the worst place of his life. And he never want to return. Think about that. This is what I think about a lot of times here. But I want it this way. If that is time and that is very bad for anybody. But also I think maybe it's time to think, maybe there's something I want to do. One way or another, I'm going to think of doing something like that myself to get the money and found a shelter that means not just sending somebody weekend, say about a weekend, man say weekend homeless or kick back out on the street, another one. This one, they'll go in and the homeless go in for rehabilitation into proper society, getting and having an apartment they can rent, and if and stuff like that, able to accommodate able to look after themselves, have accommodation, warm accommodation, air conditioning in summer. Of course, you're going to be a skyscraper, gotta be a skyscraper. And on top of it, when they are good enough, then they will accelerate on, and when they're on a wait list of public housing, be accelerated right into it very, very quickly out there. So it'll be a center, will be all not for that, assisting homeless people, moving them up in by phase, getting them used to being housed. Once they got used to it, of actually feeling like they're actually housed, that's when they get their own apartment, or they'll get an apartment building there, or one provided to them through public housing. Anyway, enough said about that. I gotta get going here. So I'm gonna have to say thank you for listening here. Well, thank you for listening here. I'm gonna end this video here. May I say thank you very, very much for listening. You have a wonderful and productive day.